I don't know if you guys have noticed that whenever I schedule the TikTok lives, I use the tagline, "Justice for Senzo taking shape." And indeed, it appears that the picture puzzle is getting complete. And Senzo's family will soon get a complete picture of what happened to their son. Brenda?
Indeed, Brady, it's really taking shape. And with allegations, Brady, that still needs to be proven beyond reasonable doubt.
Yes.
As well as Sibiya contesting, Brady, contesting the validation of a confession that is in court.
Yes.
And also, Brady, we have Ntanzi, the bribe of 3 million.
Yes.
And also Ntanzi not signing anything.
Yes, we will touch through all those aspects.
Yes.
Thank you. Official Minister.
Yes.
Hey, Tada.
My brother, Pradeni, and Brenda. We've got executive writer or executive writers.
Yes.
Muzi and Ntanzi.
Yes.
2 executive producers. Same script, different
Yes.
productions.
Yes.
Season 1 and season 2.
Yes.
Kuning.
Kuning, guys, it's a lot. And let's deal with that, Official Minister. Whenever witnesses take the stand in criminal trials, they take an oath and they promise to tell the truth, but nothing the truth.
Yeah.
And they usually end up by saying, "So help me God." I think they raise their right hand, if I'm not mistaken, and say, "So help me God." We've had Ntanzi Sibiya and Bongani Ntanzi on the witness stand this past week. Have these guys been telling the truth? Do we think, are we getting close to knowing the truth about them in particular? Starting with Muzi Sibiya, Official Minister, who started by telling us about his first arrest on the 19th of March 2019. Take us through that.
You know, the reason I say season 1 and season 2,
Yes.
there's a lot. That's why we say Kuning. That
Yes.
arrest, Prateni, 19 March 2019. Muzi says he was arrested and by Mudawi and Baloya and taken to Kliokop.
Yes.
Many people might have forgotten about Kliokop, but there is something interesting about Kliokop. Zungu told us that he got a call from General Leshabane, who was at some point appointed by Fikile Mbalula to look at this matter.
Yes.
To say, "Come to me, to my office," and it was on Sunday.
Yes.
When he gets there, after they had conversation, Leshabane, after hearing that, decided to call General Sibiya.
Yes.
And then, as Sibiya is being called, they then Sibiya suggests they call Makubo. And it is in Kliokop. This Muzi Sibiya wants us to believe that he was part of that meeting that Zungu was talking about, because he says, "I get there, I found Zungu, the police officer, Makubo, Leshabane, and Sibiya."
Yes.
But surprisingly, when Zungu gave that testimony, it was never suggested that there was Muzi in that particular meeting.
Yes.
So it goes to the point that you are saying to say, "Nkosi Nkantolo, I'm telling the truth,
Yes.
nothing else but the truth." Do
Yes.
they really mean it?
Yes.
Our legal expert will later tell us, what does it mean if something is not challenged in court?
Yes.
So that arrest of the 19th, with the imagination of Muzi claiming to be there.
Yes.
He says he was asked about a Meiwa case on that day.
Yes.
And we know that's not true, based on the evidence before court.
Which was not challenged.
Yeah.
Which was not challenged at
Yes.
all.
And you know what, official, he doesn't end there.
Yeah.
There's a second arrest. Muzi tells us that There's a second arrest that was made on the 30th of May, 2020. And there's a few contradictions that are coming there. What's your thought?
13 October 2023, Ramasipele says, upon, I think I have to read this, upon arrival at the place where the uncle rented, when that is where Muzi stayed with the uncle.
Yes.
The police found his uncle and his friend at the gate on that day when they arrested Muzi. That's Ramasipele, season 1. However, in season 2, which was released on the 1st of November 2023, Mgomezulu says, when they arrested, he says that to Butelezi.
Yes.
When you arrested Muzi, you found no one there. And Butelezi says, I opened because I took the keys from Muzi.
Yes.
Mgomezulu says, no, the uncle was not there. And the uncle is the one who has the key. Then Butelezi says, kuyamangaza ke kusho ukuthi umalume wakhe ohlala epocketini.
Yes. That means his uncle's lives in his pocket.
Yes.
Lives in his pocket because one day the uncle was there with a friend. One day the uncle was not there, left with the key.
Yes.
And that's when Butelezi said that. Then Mgomezulu said to Butelezi, no, we must respect. This is court.
Yes.
Can we please be adult and respect?
Yes.
So on the 8th of February when Muzi was giving evidence,
Yes.
it was a totally different version. And when he was cross-examined about it, he said he is not there to talk on behalf of Mgomezulu or Ramasipele.
Yes.
That's the conflict of season 1 and season 2.
Yes.
Yes. So you can see, I don't know when they say Nkosi Nkantolo, I'm telling the truth and nothing else but the truth. I mean, they are going to feast.
Yes.
I mean, as we have seen, Sibande was feasting on Muzi.
Yes.
And we expect the same thing going forward.
There's a lot of contradictions, Official Minister, that came out of Muzi's evidence in chief and cross-examination versus the versions that were put to state witnesses. So we won't be able to cover that. Those contradictions are so many.
Kuningi.
It's a lot. So we will just touch on a few of those, and later on our legal expert would summarize those from a legal background.
Yes.
And one of those, on the 27th of January 2024, that's this year,
Yes.
Mgomezulu put it to Brigadier Gininda when he was testifying that you cannot tell us anything about what happened in Deep Kloof when Muzi was with Colonel Mboto, because you were not there in Deep Kloof.
Yes.
But Muzi comes and tells us that no, Gininda was there in Deep Kloof as I was being tortured before Mboto made me to sign some documents, which I didn't know what those documents were. He says Gininda was there. He was chilling outside
At the parking
at the
area.
parking with the other guys. But Ngomezulu was very clear with Brigadier Gininda that you are not there. You can't tell us about what transpired in Deep Kloof.
Gomezulu was like, keep quiet, you're wasting our time.
Yes.
You are not there, Chief. So you can't tell me about anything that happened in this club. And Gininda said, yes, I can't say anything, I was not there.
Yes.
But Muzi says, no, in fact, Gininda was at the parking area, chilling there. So, I mean, these are clear contradictions.
Yes.
Yeah, so it is very disappointing. And we know Deep Kloof, that was on the 30th of May,
Yes.
when he gave the confession.
And one of the instances I remember when Ngomezulu was actually excited was when, I think it was Butelezi, if I'm not mistaken, as General Constable Butelezi, when he testified that he ended up falling asleep in the car while he was at Iroton. People were excited about that. And it's one of those aspects that proves that there was a firm belief from Gumezulo defense side that these people were first at Iroton, and later on Muzi was taken to Deep Kloof. Very, very interesting. And then there was also an incident of the Dobsonville Inyanga. Umagwaza. Take us through that one as well.
The 21st of November, Bradeni.
Yes.
Sergeant Mokola is cross-examined by Mkomezulu.
Yes.
And asked Mokola to say, do you remember going to Dobsonville? Mokola says, yeah, I went to Dobsonville doing some investigations in the other matter. Says, where was the cell phone of accused number 1?
Yes.
Muzi. Mokola says, it was in the safe.
Yes.
Komezulu says, no, you had the cell phone.
Yes.
You scrolled through the cell phone and you saw the name there written Umkhulu.
Umkhulu.
And it is only then when you called Umkhulu and went to Umkhulu in Dobsonville.
Yes.
And that Umkhulu is Magwaza.
Yes.
Inyanga of accused
number 1.
one.
Yes.
My babo.
He repeated that twice, that is accused number 1 is Inyanga.
Yes. Now, season 2.
Yes.
Muzi comes. Says, they ask him. In fact, when Mkomezulu was leading evidence, was doing examination in chief,
Yes.
wanted to lead Muzi to say, I'm going to go to Dobsonville to talk about Inyanga. And that
Yes.
was objected to say,
Yes.
hey, what are you doing now? What is
Because he
this?
was trying to lead him.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then he decided to terminate that point.
Yes.
But Sibanda was salivating there.
Yes.
Sibanda asked Muzi on the 6th to say, Muzi, do you know Magwaza? Muzi says, I don't know Magwaza. They say, Magwaza was your Inyanga. Says, no, I don't have Inyanga called Magwaza.
Yes.
Shocking, because Muzi raised up his hand to tell Mkomezulu that they scrolled on my phone,
Yes.
they found Inyanga. Now he doesn't remember.
Yes.
I don't know, like you said, nothing but the truth. What does it mean?
Yes. Kuningi.
Too much.
One of the propositions that was never put to Sergeant Mogani when he testified about the OB entries or the instances when Muzi was being booked at police station was that he at all material times had the keys to the cells. Because the testimony from Mogani was that they would take Muzi to a police station,
Hand over.
somebody would receive him, Mogani would sign for that on the OB entry. That testimony was never challenged, and it was further corroborated by Colonel Swanepoel, who tells the court that there's always somebody, a member of the SAPS, who will be there to receive, acknowledge, and the IO would sign for that person.
Definitely.
That evidence was not challenged, but now Muzi comes and tells us that Mogani had the keys to the cells of all these police stations where he was being detained.
Nothing was said to Swanepoel, nothing was said to Mogani. We only realized in season 2 that, in fact, that there was no handover at all. Mogani will go straight. They will write inside that book OP entries that they relied on as well.
Yes.
These OP entries, the defense relied on that these people were checked in and out, they never slept and all that. But today we are made to believe that, in fact, Mogani had the keys. He will just go without handing Muzi. Interesting.
Very interesting. And there's also, again, an issue of TRT. We don't know whether they were in Vosloorus or they were in Alberton. Because Mkomezulu said TRC was in Vosloorus.
Yes, TRT.
TRT. And here comes Muzi. Muzi says, no, it's all lies. They were in Alberton.
We've got the what is it, Braden? He receipts. we've got receipts.
Yes.
23 October 2023.
Yes.
Mgomezulu says, in Foslorus, Muzi was subjected to torture and assault by the TRT.
Yes.
He even said that to the the SWAT members.
Yes.
The SWAT members said no. Muzi comes, season 2. Says, in fact, in Foslorus, the TRT was not there. And TRT, for your information, they didn't torture me. They were just there to scare me. That's why Sibande asked, are you scared now?
Yes.
So they were there to scare me, and they were not in Foslorus, they were in Albertine.
Yes.
Guys, season 1 and season 2, not make sure. I mean, there are contradictions that those critical people who were there when those who were in the house took the stands, the criticality of trying to find contradiction even when it was not there.
Yes.
They are quiet. They are saying Muzi is cooking.
Yes.
With all these contradictions. For some reason, that criticality has evaporated. It's not there.
Yes.
For those who have believed in these guys. So for me, it's clear that oath means nothing to them.
Yes.
Yes.
And if you can go back a little bit to the issue of the police stations, Muzi further testified that he met one of the police officers in one of the police stations where he was detained, trying to report injuries to him. And that person, that police official, said to him, check the OB entries and so National Cold Case Unit. And he said, hey, these people are big, we can't touch them.
Yeah.
And the people who were frequenting those police stations that Muzi was told are big, it's Sergeant Mohola and Sergeant Mohane and Sergeant or Constable Mabena, the late.
Yes.
Now Muzi and his police friend that he met on that day want to tell us that the sergeants, and no disrespect to them, the sergeants are way more superior than the captains, the lieutenant colonels, the colonels who are running those police stations.
Yeah, he wants us to believe his lies that is what happened. And we are not going to buy that, guys, because Tumelo, when he was tortured
Yes.
by, I think she was captain then. She was Captain Joyce Buthelezi.
Yes, I think
At
she
that-
was a captain.
At that point, he managed to go and open a case.
Yes.
Maybe people will forget easily. After the torture of the 19th March, Muzi was released. Why didn't he do the same thing as Tumelo?
Yes.
For me, these people are trying to create some imaginary story and come with conspiracy theories,
Yes.
which are not even believable. And Bradeni, there is something you forgot which you like very much.
Yes.
I think Baba Robert Zwan, where he is, he's heartbroken.
Yes.
Muzi is told that on that particular day, 31st May, you were in that car.
Yes.
The whole time you went with that car where it went, Muzi says, yeah, I was in there and I was never far from that particular car.
Yes.
They said this car went to Palm Ridge.
Yes.
Muzi says, no. They said from Palm Ridge it went to Eratin. Muzi says, no, it never went to Eratin. They say, no. Dupris came here and then said this car went to Eratin.
Yes.
Muzi says, I agree, the AVL says it went to Eratin, but I don't know where Eratin is.
Yes.
As much as I don't know where Eratin is, I refuse for being there
Yes.
in Eratin. They said, no, maybe you went to Guy Gibson and you are not aware that it's Eratin.
Because there was no board. Because
was no
he
board.
always
See
is
boards.
able to identify these places by the boards.
Yeah.
And for some reason, he knows that there is no board in Eratin.
Yes.
So he says, I don't know where Eratin is, but
Yes.
I was where this car went. If this car went to Eratin, I agree with the AVL, but I've never went to Eratin.
Yes.
And Eratin, we know that's where he met Ubabzwane, and they said, Fanagasvi. So Ubabzwane must be heard where he is because Muzi doesn't know him even after he has given them Intlandla Imhlophe.
Yes. But you know, somebody said something very interesting during the live, one of our lives on TikTok this past week, that Muzi wouldn't have challenged Baba Zwane's testimony when he testified before the trial, within a trial, because he knows Baba Zwane's powers. He cannot tell Baba Zwane he's lying. He'll deal with him decisively. That's why he kept quiet. But that was just one of those funny moments.
And I think that is one thing we must also ask our legal expert.
Yes.
Baba Zwane is brought as a witness by Baloyi.
Yes.
Says all these things. The police came, they taken me to this office, meaning Eratin.
Yes.
And then he said, Kwenzenjan,
Yes.
Fanagasviya, Kwenzenjan, Atoza Maketan, meaning he was chained.
Yes.
The defense, no cross-examination.
Yes.
So our legal expert must tell us, what does that mean?
Yes.
Because I understand it to mean that was not challenged.
Yeah.
So that means it is accepted.
Yes. And then, Brenda, when all these contradictions were coming through, Advocate Sibanda kept on asking the same question all over again. That why were these versions not corrected when the state witnesses were here? Why did you not correct your counsel? At some stage, Advocate Sibanda said he has calculated 20 times where Muzi Sibiya raised his hand, correcting Ngomezulu. But now Muzi Sibiya, when he was asked that question, he tells the court that he respects the court. He did not want to interrupt the flowing of the proceedings. But Advocate Sibanda is correct. Muzi and Bongani Ntanzi have been consistently raising their hand. And we calculated, Brenda, you calculated those instances where some of those few instances, can you take us through all those? Because people will think we are manufacturing these things.
Yeah.
And the records are out there. People can go and refer for themselves. All these instances where Sibiya was raising his hand, either correcting a state witness or Muzi Sibiya.
Yeah. You know, Bradeni, it's so many times I had to, write them down so that we don't forget.
Yes.
On the 13th of October, Bradeni, 2023, Muzi Sibiya raised his hand. The testimony of Colonel Boto.
Yes.
And Ramosepole took the instructions from him, which were raised after their judgment, Brady.
Mm-hmm.
On the very same proceedings, at 4 hours, 17 minutes and 20 seconds,
Yes.
Ramosepole takes instructions from the very same person who didn't want to, disturb the court.
Yes.
And again, Brady, we must remember that there were no cross-examinations from lawyers of 3, 4, and 5.
That was to Colonel Mboto.
Yes, that was only for Muzi Brady.
Yes.
Now, the 23rd October 2023, it was a testimony of Lieutenant Colonel
Radebe, yes.
At 4 hours, 20 minutes and 11 seconds.
Yes.
Both Ramosepole takes instructions, Bradeni, from the very same person.
Who's been afraid of distracting the court.
Which is accused number 1.
Yes.
And before Colonel Radebe testified, Bradeni, that's when it happened. Now, at 5 hours, 25 minutes, 34 seconds, Muzi raised his hand again, Brady. And that's when Ngomezulu approached him.
Yes.
And he gave him instructions.
Yes.
At 5 hours, 35 minutes, and 50 seconds, Muzi again, Brady raises his hands. And then Ngomezulu approached him again, Bradeni.
Yes.
And it was when again, on the 21st November 2023, when it was Sergeant Mokhola's turn. At 2 hours, 30 minutes and 31 seconds, Muzi raised his hand again, Bradeni.
Yes.
And he was raising his hands to correct the witness.
Yes, Sergeant Mohol.
Yeah.
Yes.
Judge Rata even laughed at that.
Yes.
Yes, brother. And at 3 hours, 20 minutes and 44 seconds, Muzi raised his hands again, Brady.
Yes.
And give Ngomezulu the instructions. And then on the 31st May 2020, Mokhola didn't know about the charges, Brady, of murder. Then on the 22nd November 2023, Sergeant Mokhola was testifying.
Actually, on that one, Muzi was arguing that Sergeant Mokhola does not know about
the murder,
the attempted murder charges. And Mokhola said, but I was investigating those cases, and you are sitting here as a convicted person because of one of those cases I was investigating.
Yes, Brady.
That is where a lady who was a police officer was shot with 20 plus bullets.
Yes.
Yes.
And the 22nd November 2023, it was Sergeant Mokhola, Brady. 35 minutes and 30 seconds, Ngomezulu approached accused number 1 again. Now people should count, Bradeni, because it wasn't even once, twice, or
I already lost count. I started counting 1, 2, 3. Now I'm lost.
It's just few, examples that we have, Brady,
yes.
with everything that has happened. And at 48 minutes, Muzi raised his hands and Ramusipula approached again, Bradini, while Ngomezulu was looking for the document. I don't know if you saw that he was looking through the documents and he raised his hand.
Yes.
And Ramusipula stood up and went to him for another instruction.
Yes.
So people, Muzi cannot be telling the truth to say he was now, afraid to
disrupt the proceedings.
Yes, it's not correct.
Yeah. And we must make to believe all those things.
Yes.
I mean, we must make to believe and say they are cooking. What are they cooking?
No,
when they
there's
are
no
lying?
cooking, yes.
I mean, if it is not to disturb the court, Muzi was saying, Ngomezulu must come and answer.
Yes.
As if Ngomezulu was representing himself.
Yes.
Or instructed himself. So.
And that was Ntanzi Sibiya's evidence in summary. In conclusion, as he was concluding his evidence in chief, there was a promise that there will be a witness that will come and corroborate his version. And there was a big hype on social media. People were inboxing me left, right, and center. Bradeni, who do you think that witness would be? Hey, Bradeni, we are worried. What if it's somebody who's going to break the state's case? Yeah. And there was no such a witness.
Yeah. The father
was
one with such witness.
Yes.
Because was referred to during the
evidence in chief. Yes.
And there was another interesting fellow as well.
Yes.
Mishak Makuv.
Yes.
The judge even asked, are you going to call him? Ngomezulu said, no, just accept this evidence.
Provisionally accept.
Provisionally, yes. I don't know. The judge said, no, I can't if you don't know whether this person is going to be called or not.
Yes.
Then he said, no, we'll come to it. Guys, those who don't know Mishak Makubo, this is one of the witnesses that people were excited that is going to come.
Yes.
Misha Makubo is one of the police officers who has done something that Pradeni always says is unheard of.
Yes.
Opening a case of murder investigation when there is a case.
Yes.
26 October 2014, the case, the Meiwa case is opened.
Yes.
Now, Makubo in 2019, together with Joyce Buthelezi, one of the respected police officers, they opened case 375.
Yes.
When we say case 375, people were excited. Get excited. That is why people were excited when Makubo was mentioned to be called as a witness.
Yes.
I call him Commander-in-Chief of case 37501 of 2019.
Yes.
When people were excited that Makubo is coming, Makubo said, "Andizi." And I laughed because people seem to be having this excitement that we don't know where it comes from about case 375 when there is no murder weapon, there is no forensic report, nothing.
Yes.
There is just a name that people in the house knows what happened. That is
Yes.
all. So Misha Makubo was one such witness that Mkomezulu wanted to bring. I doubt even if they engage him or not, but I didn't even expect him to come.
He said, "Andizi kuningi."
Yeah, but yes.
Before we move on to Bongani Ntanzi, we are joined again online by our legal expert, Mr. Abubakar. Mr. Abubakar, welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for having me. Hello to everyone. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Please help us deal or understand how the law would ordinarily deal with these multiple contradictions that were exposed during the evidence in chief of Muzi Sibiya. I think if you like, you can also touch on Bongani Ntanzi. How would the court handle such kind of series of events?
You see, it is very important for people to know and understand that when witnesses are on the stand, the
Yes.
cross-examination would include the version of the accused being put against those witnesses,
Yes.
so that the veracity of that can be tested while the witnesses are still on the box. Now, if you are told that the wall is red, and you continue with it knowing that the wall is red, as a statement that has been put to witnesses,
Yes.
and it happens afterwards that the accused then comes and testifies and says, but that wall was yellow. That is a clear internal contradiction that
Yes.
comes from the accused himself. Now, what do we say of witnesses that are contradicting each other or they're contradicting themselves? We see them as not being credible. We approach their testimony with a lot of caution. You see, in criminal proceedings, it is important for people to understand that an accused need not give a believable story.
Yes.
The court
Yes.
They need to come up with a reasonably possibly true story. Now,
Yes.
your reasonably possibly true story must also have some element of truth in it. If you can easily forget if your rights were read to you, the time when you were arrested, you are asking, were your rights read to you? I can't remember that. Did you sign any documents that have got something to do with rights? I can't remember that. It is because what you are telling us, there's a reasonable possibility that what you are telling us is not the truth, because it is not difficult to remember the truth. And if a witness does not tell the truth, be it an accused or a witness for the state, then the court is entitled to make a credibility finding on that person's testimony. A credibility finding would then mean the court can actually announce on whether they believe or not believe this witness. At this stage, from how this case is going, the state's case is very strong. They've got witnesses that are corroborating each other very well. And where there are contradictions, they are not as major as they are now on the witnesses of the defense, be it accused number 1 and 2 both, as they testify and go along. You know, the recordings of the bail application, where the whereabouts of accused number 2 were contested upon thoroughly, have not been contested, and that means then that those recordings form part of this bail of this trial. Now, what happens at a later stage is we're going to first find out if indeed this guy went to pay lobola, if he was at work and all that. And listen to what he's saying now. He's no longer as confident as he was. I'm now talking about Ntanzi. He's as confident as he was when he testified, because he has realized that everything he said did not check out.
Yes.
He now says, I may have been at home. I may have been at work. I may have been, you know, giving an evasive answer is an indication that but this person is not credible and cannot be trusted. So when a witness or when an accused lies or changes their, let me not say they're lying, when they change their versions as they go along, for the versions to suit the story that they want the court to believe, the court can make a credibility finding against them. And if it is found that you are lying about one thing, what is it that makes us not to believe that you are lying about everything else?
Yes.
I hope that answers the question.
Yeah.
Definitely. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Abubakar. Now let's move to Bongani Ntanzi, official minister. We had been asking this question on our lives as to whether the defense will take a risk of putting Bongani Ntanzi on the witness stand, and they were brave. We must commend them.
Yeah.
Because it was, what do you call this in English, between a rock and a hard place. They don't place him on the stand, they are doomed because an inference can be drawn by the court. They place him, he contradicts himself, they are doomed. So they had to make that decision and they went with the latter. Place him on the stand and see what happens. And your boy was singing.
In my language, which is Sepedi, Pradeni, Pare ke kgomo ya moshate.
Wa e gapa o molato.
Wa e gapa o molato, wa e tlogela o molato.
What's the English translation for that, official minister?
There is something about you damned if you do.
You damned if you know.
If you don't. I mean, we are from secondary high school,
Yes.
not from St. Peter. So I'm not sure if I'm correct about that.
Yes.
But something towards that line.
Towards
Yes.
that, yes.
Yes.
We were still on Bongani Ntanzi.
Yes.
When he started giving his testimony, his evidence in chief, he tells us about the day he was arrested. And he tells us that he received a call from somebody from a 011 number. And that person introduced herself as Mamfundis. Actually, he said 2 weeks before the arrest in his evidence in chief.
Yeah.
2 weeks before, he gets that call from Mamfundisi using a 01 number, 011. That's a Joburg.
Yes.
But the difficulty there is that the version that was put to state witnesses was that the call was received on the same day,
16th of June.
16th of June, and the person introduced herself as Sergeant Mohola.
Yeah.
And she was calling from a 012 number.
Yes.
That's Bongani Ntanzi.
Season 1 and
Yes.
season 2.
Yes.
Same cast, different executive producers,
Yes.
Omezulu and Ramasipele. Ramasipele on the 7th of November 2023 says on the 16th of June, exactly like you said, Pradine, Ntanzi receives a call
Yes.
from 012 number, and then the person introduced herself as Sergeant Mohola. And not only that, that person said something towards the line that, I'm not sure if it was Ramsepelo or Mkomezulu. I think it was Mkomezulu.
Yes.
Who said on the 16th of October, a call was received on the 16th. I think it was Mkomezulu. So he says the person who introduced herself as Sergeant Mokhola said Ntanzi is wanted in connection to Senzo Meyiwa murder.
Yes.
And Mokhola, on the 21st of November, when she responded, she said, wow, a police officer warning a suspect that they are wanted for murder. I can be charged for defeating the ends of justice.
Yes.
Ntanzi comes and says, no, in fact, that number was 011 number. That's number one. And the person introduced herself as Mam Fundis.
Yes.
I only started to know about the name Mokhola when Sergeant Mokhola took the witness. All along, I didn't know that is Mokhola.
Yes.
Yes. You know that clip, Jacob Zuma, he says, yes. I mean, guys, this is a serious contradiction.
Yes.
You knew this person as Mokhola in your first version in November, but you want to tell us that on the 21st of November is for the first time you knew it's Mokhola. When you gave the version of Mokhola on the 7th of November.
Yes.
For me, that is a serious contradiction.
Yes. And there was another version that he gave. When asked whether he was read his rights, like our expert said, Mr. Abubakar, he kept on saying, I don't remember. Ramosepele kept on probing. And one of his responses was that he could not hear Mogani properly because there was a language barrier. The person that he could hear a little bit was Mabena, because Mabena had told him, meaning there was a conversation between him and Mabena. Mabena had told him that he's in Ndebele. He's from Ndebele, so Ndebele is close to Zulu. So he could hear him. So Ramosepele tried to probe further because Ntanzi was not getting the direction of the director. He was not getting it. So Ramosepele tried and asked, did they tell you that you've got the right to remain silent? He said, no, I don't remember. Ramosepele tried again for the third time. And the judge had to intervene at that point and said, Mr. Ramosepele, he has told you twice that he cannot remember. Why are you trying to elicit a different answer from him?
You see, and at some point they don't even remember what the rights are, but they don't know what the rights are.
Yes.
But they don't remember giving the rights.
Yes.
That was a bit of a desperation from Ramosepele, and we'll talk about him later on. It was a bit of desperation. I can tell you, Bradeni, without fear of contradiction.
Yes.
That conversation they had with Mabena, these guys were close. They were friends. I know I was not there, but I can tell you based on the evidence that they were close. Ntanzi can even see through the heart of
Sergeant Mogane. That he was a good person.
He was a good person, Shem. He couldn't do much. He felt sorry for me. I can tell you, Ntanzi, Mabena, and Mogane, they were brothers. Close, eating, nice food, and buying drinks.
And Mabena giving a jacket.
Hey, there's a kuningi.
There's
Even
a lot.
dancing, telling him about the dance moves.
The greatest Zulu
Yes.
dance
Yes.
of all times.
Yes.
Yes.
So they were very close. There's no doubt there.
Indeed. Then there was this meeting of the 17th. He was arrested on the 16th of June, 2020, transported to Pretoria Mood police station. That's where he was detained. The next day, they came for a visit, investigative visit, Bongani and Mabena. And in that meeting, there's a dispute now there between the defense version and the state version. Ntanzi's argument is that there was a lot of people in that boardroom where they were questioning him. And one of the people who was present was Brigadier Gininda. Now, he was asked, did those people introduce themselves? He said, no, only one introduced himself as Brigadier Gininda. And by then, Ntanzi has forgotten that there was no Brigadier Gininda.
But Ramasepele knows.
Yes, there was a Colonel Gininda.
The executive producer now do what we call cut.
Yes.
Edit the production to say, remember, at that time, he was not Brigadier Gininda.
Yes.
So, which is the same thing as the issue of Sergeant Mokola and Mamfundis.
Mamfundis.
So you can already see that. The story is not make sure.
Yes. And by the way, the state witnesses, both Sergeant Mokola, Sergeant Bongani, and Brigadier Gininda, they denied that Brigadier Gininda was in that meeting on the 17th. And Gininda further told us that he wouldn't have any reason to deny his presence. He was not there, and he's provided the court and the defense with his diary of 2020 around that period. All the things that he was doing were documented on that diary, even though it's not exact details.
And Mokola said she came towards the end of that meeting on that particular day, so she was not party to that meeting.
Yes. Then the script moved to the 24th. I think there was the 23rd. I'll jump the 23rd for now. Let's go to the 24th when he's taken to go see Magistrate Kronje. He says he doesn't know where he was going. They just came, took him, placed him in a car, drove him to a place that he doesn't know. The director tried to assist him to say, no, that place is supposed to be Boksburg Magistrate Court. He said, no, I don't remember. I had never been there. The director said, but now that evidence has been laid in court that that place is Boksburg Magistrate Court. He said, I'm Kumbol, but yeah, it could have been because I don't know that place. They got to Boksburg Magistrate Court, got out of the cars, ultimately ended up next to room number two. As they are standing there at room number 2, Bongani Ntanzi sees a gentleman that he had never seen before in his life. Who is that gentleman?
That gentleman is Ntokozo Mchiako.
Advocate Mchiako.
Advocate Dominic Ntokozo Mchiako.
Yes.
We'll come back to this name of Ntokozo, but let's just use Dominic Mchiako.
Yes.
Pradeni, which means Ntanzi knew about Mchiako before he went into room C.
Yes.
But in season 1, 20th of October 2023,
Yes.
Mgomezulu says, it is my instruction that Ntanzi was not represented on that day.
Yes.
And he doesn't know Mr. Mchiako.
Yes.
But Ntanzi comes and tells the court that, in fact, that proposition by Mgomezulu
Yes.
is not true.
Yes.
Because he knew who Mchiako is.
Yes.
Because Mjiako was in that. I told people that Mjiako was chilling in that couch.
Yes.
They said, official is lying.
Yes.
Was he there? Yes, Ntanzi tells you that Mjiako was there.
Yes.
Chilling, busy with his cell phone.
Yes.
So, guys, this is another serious contradiction because Mgomezulu put to the magistrate Bronje that Ntanzi was not represented.
Yes.
But today Ntanzi says, no, I was represented by a person that I don't know.
Yes.
Which is a total contradiction.
Yes.
And he says, I know Mr. Mjiako and I knew Mjiako on that day. That is shocking.
Then Ramosepele tried to direct him because he kept on referring to Mjiako as Lomuntu.
Yes.
Lomuntu mina ngwazi ukuthopha maphi, Lomuntu this, Lomuntu that.
Yeah.
And Ramosepele said, no, refer to him by the surname.
Yeah.
And Ntanzi sings again.
The singer and the greatest Zulu dancer of all time
Yes.
started singing, saying Untokozo Mjiako.
Wakwamjiako.
Guys, take it from me. If you call Dominic Mjiako Ntokozo by
Yes.
the name Ntokozo,
Yes.
it's either you know him from
Yes.
Vets University,
Yes.
or you are part of the family members,
Yes.
or you are a close friend,
Yes.
or you had a close relationship with him.
Yes.
In court, they have never referred to this gentleman as they've
Ntokozo.
always saying Dominic Mjiako.
Yes.
When Ntanzi said Ntokozo Mjiako, people were like, who is he talking about?
Yes.
Because we know Dominic. He referred to him as Ntokozo Mjiako because he had a very close relationship with him
Yes.
as his lawyer.
Yes.
And but then there's something that confused people when they talked about Miss Chie.
Yes.
Miss Chie was the managing director of Mjiako Attorneys.
Yes.
When Baloyi read that letter, Miss Chie was the managing director.
Yes.
Dineo Chia studied at the University of Limpopo. She did LLB there. So that is Chia who was in court on the day when Mjiako was no longer going to represent
Ntanzi. And yes, Brenda.
Yes, I wanted to say, and Ntanzi said he doesn't know this man.
He had
doesn't
never
know-
met
he
him
has
up
never
until
met
the
him.
24th.
But he comes up and said, I fired him.
Yes.
How do you fire someone you don't even know
Yes.
or met?
He says, Brenda, he gave. This is very important, guys. Those who are looking for instructions. Ntanzi says, I have given Mjiako instructions to tell the court that I was assaulted.
Yes.
And Mjiako didn't give the court those instructions. He came to me with a deal.
Yes.
And then I fired him because I don't make deals with police.
Police.
I
Yes.
told him even about the 3 million.
Yes.
He didn't handle that issue.
Guys, how do you give somebody instructions who is not your lawyer?
Yes.
Maybe you can go to that 3 million story, Pradeni.
Before that, let me go back. I left the 23rd. Remember, on the 23rd or the 22nd, Brigadier Bongani Gininda told us that he received a call at Muzi police station that there's a gentleman who wants to consult
Yes.
with the accused. And he went there, he met the gentleman who introduced himself as Dominic Mjiako. And actually it was Ntanzi who stood first because he knew Gininda. He introduced Mjiako to Gininda that ummeli wami lo.
Yeah.
That version was denied as well. Mjiako, Ntanzi, denied that he had ever met
Yes.
Dominic Mjiako up until the 24th of June,
Yes.
2020.
And Gininda said he did some investigation to find out if this guy is a lawyer or
Yes.
Yes.
that was confirmed.
Yes.
And gave Mjiako an opportunity to consult.
Yes.
And it is then that the outcome of that triggered the visit to the magistrate on
Yes.
the 24th.
Yes.
But this gentleman says, no, Gininda is lying because
Yes.
I only saw that gentleman the first day on that, standing next to that door.
And he's taking a risk because Gininda has testified and told the court that there are records, there are communications that are out there with regard to that Section 105, capital A plea bargain. Those records are there, that there was a communication between Mjiako on behalf of Ntanzi and the state.
I dare the defense to call Mr. Ntokozo Mjiako. I call him Ntokozo.
Yes.
To call Ntokozo Mjiako.
Yes.
Or that caucus, they've given them a weekend to consult and
Yes.
strategize.
Yes.
They must call Ntokozo Mjiako. You know what is it that we are going to find? Ntanzi says Mjiako said he was instructed by my sister.
Usisi. Yes.
By Usisi means his sister.
Yes.
There is no doubt Usisi means, if I say Usisi,
Yes.
it's my sister.
Yes.
Family.
I don't have a doubt there. They must do that. And Bradene and Brenda, I'm telling you, if they do that, we are going to see receipts of payments,
Yes.
and we will see who made those payments.
Yes.
Usisi
Yes.
made the payments. There is no way Usisi can instruct a lawyer and not make the payments.
Yes.
They must do that. And they are forgetting something, Bradeni, because they are banking on something that I don't think they've applied their mind on.
Yes.
They are banking on the fact that the recording is admissible in trial within a trial.
Yes. It's not admissible.
Now, I mean, it's not admissible.
Yes.
Now, you've got Ntanzi, you've got the state.
Yes.
If the confessions are accepted,
Yes.
you've got Ntanzi, you've got the state.
Yes.
Let's play that. I challenge all those who believe in Ntanzi. Let's
Yes.
play that recording
Yes.
and hear that after the statement was done, was it read to Ntanzi and what did he say?
Yes.
They are banking on that, and it's going to be very, very bad.
That's a very dangerous
It's a
bank.
very dangerous strategy, this one.
And then as we conclude the points on Ntanzi, that issue of 3 million, when it was put to him to comment, he tells us that when Brigadier Gininda was talking to him about, before he made that 3 million offer, he asked him, how much are you earning at the mine? And he said, that's none of your business. Ngamane ngihlupheke, I would rather suffer, struggle with my mother. Keep your 3 million. That was very interesting, especially the answer. That's none of your business. The man who's been scared of Gininda and his people, he's so brave to tell him that.
Who is tortured?
Yes, that's none of your business. My son, that's none of your business.
In season 1, 27 January 2024, Mgomezulu says to Gininda, you went to Pretoria, and in any case, Ntanzi was not in Pretoria because he was in Primrose. You went to Pretoria to apologize.
Yes.
And after you rendered your apology, you offered Ntanzi 3 million.
Yes.
And then go and look at that video. There is a lady and a gentleman. Hey, all of them, they get shocked. So now, they say Mgomezulu in season, Ramasipiri in season 2 says, tell us what happened on that day. The version change. Ntanzi says, Gininda came there gun blazing, threatening me.
Yes.
No longer apologizing.
Yes.
Threatening me, saying, yeah, I know you had golden threats.
Yes.
You think I'm a fool?
Yes.
There is nothing about apology there.
Yes.
And then after the threat says, you must work with me.
Yes.
And I'm going to give you 3 million.
Yeah.
You implicate. You see, guys, these versions are not adding up.
Yes.
And for me, that's a I mean, our legal expert will tell us, Mr. Abubakar, to say, what does it mean? Because these are not minor, these are consistent contradictions,
Yes.
very consistent. But then last point, maybe I think we might have missed it. Do you remember that on the 20th of October 2023, Mgomezulu said to the magistrate, Ntanzi didn't sign any statements in
Yes.
front of you or initialized
Yes.
every page.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ramusipele yesterday says, PS, whose initial
Yes.
are those?
Yes.
Ntanzi is possibly mine.
Yes.
I mean, yeah, kuningi.
Kuning, there's a lot. Let's go back to our legal expert, Mr. Abubakar. Now, Mr. Abubakar, on Friday when the matter adjourned, the state posed a question to the defense because the state, as we understand, and you'll help us with that angle, the state could not call Dominic Mujiako as their witness because there's a legal privilege that comes from the Criminal Procedure Act. Now, the state being constrained, they asked the defense, Advocate Sibanda asked Mr. Ramosepele, are you going to call Dominic Mujiako? And there was a big caucus, and the judge was a bit sympathetic to them and said, go and think about it over the weekend. Come and tell me on Monday that you are planning to call him or not. What is the legal scheme there? Can Giaco at some stage be called as a court witness? Just take us through that, starting with the legal privilege as contained in the Criminal Procedure Act. I think it's section 201, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes. Let me first start by answering your question directly, and then I will explain it.
Yes.
Is there a possibility that Giaco might be called? The answer is yes, there is that possibility. Now the question is, called by who?
Yes.
I mean, a lot of people thought that the prosecution will not close their case until they call him. But the prosecution could not call him to come and testify. The reason for that is because as a legal representative who is representing a person, you are not included in Section 192 of the Criminal Procedure Act. Section 192 of the Criminal Procedure Act says every person, unless if you are mad, unless if you are the person's husband or wife, every person is a competent and a compellable witness to in testifying in a matter even against an accused person or against the state. That is the first part. Then you read section 201 of the same Criminal Procedure Act. It says, but when we gave you that section 192, we did not include attorneys. There is no attorney in this country who has a right or who can be compelled or be held competent to testify against their clients, be it in South Africa or anywhere else. As long as they are practicing in South Africa, they will not be allowed to testify against their clients.
Yes.
But then it has an exception to it. It says, unless if the accused consents to that testimony being heard. Now, the only person who can give us Mr. Dominic Mujiako to come and testify, or Advocate Mujiako to come and testify in this matter, would be Ngomezu. I mean, would be Ntanzi himself.
Ntanzi.
Yes.
He's the one who must say, okay, it's fine, call my lawyer. Or it's fine, call Lomuntu lawyer. So that they can come and tell you where they were at the time when I was allegedly making this confession.
Yes.
And in this situation, do I think they would call him? I don't think they will call him. The reason why I don't think they would call him is because whatever is it that he will come and say, he must first take an oath to tell the truth, the whole truth,
Yes.
and nothing else but the truth.
Yes.
Mr. Njiako goes on the stand and he says, I don't know this gentleman, I've never represented him.
Yes.
Then the books of Mr. Njiako would be subjected to scrutiny. His bank account would be subjected to scrutiny. The files that he has in his office would be subjected to scrutiny. The legal practice counsel would be on his case to say, in the testimony of Ntanzi, he says you were there. What were you doing in the magistrate's office when he was making a confession? Busy with your phone. Because
Yes.
according to the law, you are not supposed to be in a room unless if you are directly interested. Now, the persons who can be in a room when a confession is made is the accused, the person who takes the confession, the interpreter, legal representative of the accused, and nobody else. Now, you cannot say Dominic was an interpreter. You cannot say he was a clerk, because clerks are not allowed to be in there. You cannot say he was an attorney because of an accused who was coming after this one, because he was not expected to be in that room. The only explanation would be that he was the attorney of the person who gave the confession.
Yes.
Who can give us the information on whether he was there or not? It is the accused, and he has done that already. He says, I met him outside. When we spoke, he went into the room. That guy said nothing, Shem. He was just busy on his phone. He was there.
Yes.
And obviously he was asked the question, who are you and what are you doing here? And he must have said, but I am here on the instruction of my client.
Yes.
Who did not tell me to go outside. So, the privilege says an attorney cannot be forced, cannot be instructed by the state to come and testify on behalf of their client or against their client.
Yes.
Like a wife not expected to testify against the husband. Like in this situation, pastors as well are not allowed to testify on confessions against accused persons. But one is a bit tricky because here we've got Mr. Robert Zwani who came and sang against his client.
Yes.
Or his parent in this case. Yes.
And can a girlfriend, I'm asking for a friend, can a girlfriend testify?
100%.
Hey, my friend is in trouble.
So,
we be very careful. We must be very careful of this thing. Just a moment, sorry, sir. We must be very careful of this thing. And the reason why I say we must be careful is because in South Africa, marriage is recognized in terms of two acts. Recognition of Customary Marriages Act. A marriage concluded in terms of that act is a marriage. And then we have the Marriages Act of 1965. Now, those are the two acts that talk about marriage and nothing else.
Yes.
So if I'm staying with my girlfriend for 6 years and she is my girlfriend, when I commit a crime in front of her and she is told to come and testify, she will be a competent and compellable witness to tell the truth. And if she does not tell the truth, she can be charged for defeating the ends of justice and perjury. By the way, Law CC, who paid Ntokozo, who paid Advocate Njiako, can be called to come and testify because there is nothing that prevents her to come and testify. Unless if UCC was the girlfriend, unless if UCC was, unless if UCC was the wife, sorry, not the girlfriend, the wife, or unless UCC was the attorney, which is impossible.
Yes. And as we get closer to the conclusion, Mr. Ubak, I'll come back to your question, Official Minister. There's an application that Advocate Sibanda wanted to make this past week to cross-examine Muzi Sibiya on the contents of his confession. And that application was dismissed very quickly by Judge Mokgwatleng. And Sibanda quoted his case law. Mokgwatleng also came back with his own case law. Can you just summarize that argument, that application, and the dismissal thereof? What is the law around that?
Look, honestly speaking, both the cases are saying the same thing. What these cases are saying is that cross-examination on the veracity of a confession, on whether the allegations are that the police officers made it against the person or not, can only be done once this document has been determined to be a confession.
Yes.
Now, it cannot be determined to be a confession if it has not been admitted as such.
Yes.
So it is important that a pronouncement be made to say this piece of paper or this document that has got so many pages in it, that has got the signature of the accused and all that, qualifies as a free, voluntary statement admitting all truth made by an accused without being unduly influenced after it being signed.
Yes.
Because then it qualifies as a confession. So
Yes.
yeah, with all respect to the prosecution, I think they were trying something else there. You cannot cross. It is like a statement. You know, when
Yes.
when a witness testifies and there's contradictions on their statement, you need to lay the basis
Yes.
for you need to lay the basis for cross-examination to take place in those statements. Now,
Yeah.
the main trial, once the confession has been admitted, if it will be admitted, the question that will be asked would be, are you saying that this statement that you made, you were made to say the statement by the police? Now, how did the police know 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? That's how the cross-examination should take place on the main trial, when or if accused number 1 or 2 take stands to say, yeah, it's fine, you've admitted it as a confession, but whatever is it that was said there is not necessarily what I wanted to say. So that is the legal position in it. Both the cases that the deciding officer quoted, the one of 1965, you must remember, it's a case that was made before the Criminal Procedure Act of 1977, and the one that was made in 1993 was made after the Constitution, and it also includes Section 35, subsection 5 now, to say an accused is still having a right against incrimination, which is why you still need to go through the test of checking whether the confession is true or correct. I mean, true or false, before you admit it.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Abubakar. Official Minister, do you have a last question?
No, mine was an addition to what Mr. Abubakar was talking about.
Yes.
That if Ntokozo Mchiako can come and say, this is not my client, I'm saying, remember, 3rd March 2021, Ms. Chia wrote a letter to say, on behalf of Ntokozo Mchiako, to say, due to family issues, he cannot be in court because Ntokozo would have loved to be in court to tell the court that he's no longer representing Ntanzi. So there is a letter from Ntokozo, from Chiako attorneys, that says this guy was represented by Advocate Ntokozo Mchiako.
Okay, kuningi, guys, there's a lot. But Bongani Ntanzi is still going to face cross-examination probably on Monday. Going to Tuesday, we believe Advocate George Baloyi should be back to boost his colleague, Advocate Sibanda. We will follow that like we always do. And we will come back on this platform with a thorough analysis of what would have transpired under cross-examination. And like we always say, the views expressed in this show are just a mere measure of public sentiments. Everybody, in terms of our constitutional jurisprudence, is presumed innocent until proven guilty by a competent court of law. Up until we meet again, make sure you subscribe, you engage with the content, and please share the content. But don't forget to subscribe. See you soon. Thank you, and thank you to Mr. Abubakar, our legal expert, for joining us once again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.